I really don't care what Quentin said, Randy.
Why is that?
Loser!
Oh,
fuckface.
We're live.
Oh, you should.
Thanks a lot, John. Then the first
Thanks
10
for telling
seconds.
me, fucker.
Well, you're here for the pre-show meeting.
Did you just say
My
that?
God, are you?
All right, let's go.
Eddie Van Halen here, telling you, keep playing, man. Gotta keep playing. It's the only thing there is. Music, man. Keep playing. All right? I'm gonna come looking for you if you don't.
Woo, all right. We are here. Where's Trev? We are here. Welcome in, boys. Welcome in, Trev, John. We got Jimmy and Randy tonight on the Guitar Arsenal. What's up? It is Tuesday, September the 3rd at 9:10 p.m. and we are ready to go. We're going to be talking about Jimmy's Synergy rig with his new SLO2 module.
My God, are you?
Yes, still talking.
Oh my God, it's so juicy.
That's what I meant to hit.
That's what she said.
So anyway, going to be talking about his SLO2 module for the Synergy. And I'm hoping that maybe we can go through what your signal chain is and all that, maybe in depth a little bit, and then get some demo of that module. So before we get started, though, I want to give a big shout out and a thank you to our channel members. We do have channel membership available on the channel if you should choose to support us in that manner. We do appreciate it. It helps out quite a bit. We've got several channel members here. We want to say thank you to all of the old and the new channel members for helping us out, keeping us going, being able to help us pay to have the lawn mowed and all that good stuff. So thank you to our latest laser guided, Way Up Dude, AMC Kingdom, Josh Tanberg, Cushman NYC, and Gary Cornett.
How did
that was not the correct one. That was not the most updated one.
How did Quentin get on there? Is he like an honorary or something?
I was just going to say, that's the wrong one. So I need to get rid of that one.
Even if he pays, fuck him, he's not going on the list.
Let me get the proper list up here, because I knew those most recent ones were not the most recent. So here we go. These are the actual channel members that we have currently. And yes, Quentin is on there. So thank you, Quentin. Top of the middle display there. And thank you to our, dang it, man. That's the same one. All right, hang on. Something is just not quite right here.
My penis is on the loose. If you see it, just try to catch it with some cheese.
Damn it, Bobby.
This is frustrating because I specifically went through and I updated this. So
specifically not well enough.
Specifically, must not have been the right one. So let me see if, anyway, once I get it updated, we'll say thank you to all the actual current members. So let me see. I need to boost it up just a little bit. What the heck? Now nothing's working.
I deserve
There
a
we go.
goddamn penis!
All right, is this the right one? Probably not.
It's got boner jams where Quentin was, so.
No, Quentin was on the second page.
Oh.
So let's see if this is the correct one.
Okay.
I think this is the correct. I think this is the correct one.
It might be Rabbit.
It could be. It could be. So our newest members. There they are. Gary
Yeah.
Cornett, Carl Winslow, 710 is Oil Upside Down, Special K, aka Karen, not that Karen, and of course Cushman NYC.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Right on.
Awesome,
Man, you
guys.
think that we'd never done this before?
It's Tuesdays. Tuesdays are
It's
always fraught
Tuesday.
with-
We're getting warmed up.
It's Tuesday, and it was technically like a Monday for everybody, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. It definitely has been an odd start to the week so far. But you know what's cool about it is that one day back to work. Tomorrow's already Wednesday. You know, you're at hump day, almost done. So.
I got to work Saturday, so.
Yeah.
There goes that theory.
Sucks for you. So let me get over here. We will unzip the chat bag. And we will see who is here and say hello. First one I see was Zach Thong saying hey to the crew. Right on, Zach. Good to see you. There was Randy in the chat saying hey to Zach. Right on, Randy. On the panel. There's channel member Jimmy Biter and on the panel as well. What's up, Jimmy? Way to leave me hanging, brother.
I was muted. What's up?
All right, we got Under the Bus Network is here as well. Quentin James live, yeah, he was. He sends me an invitation, and I went on there for just a minute, and I was telling it just as soon as I received the invitation. You know, I'm trying to set this guitar up. As soon as it comes through, I look over and the B string goes bang, pops. So I did something unusual for a quick remedy, requesting isolation. I took one of my my old Steinberger strings and put it on here real quick, put it underneath there, and so far it seems to be okay. So we'll see what it's holding together. We'll see what happens. But anyway,
That's like, you ever seen anybody lose the locking block for a Floyd and they just stick the ball in and run the screw into the ball?
right? I've never
They've
seen
in
that.
fact done that once or twice.
Let's see who else is here. Roll call. Oh yeah, channel member El Bar J is here, saying what's up. What's up? Oh, he's saying hey to Under the Bus. Let's see. There's Kurt 5150. Thought this was the JP16 show.
It's for sale.
It is for sale. So if anybody wants to prevent us from doing a JP16 show, let Randy know. Mr. Mick is here. What is up, Mr. Mick? We got channel member Hip Metalworks is here, saying cheers to the crew. Right on, Ken. Good to see you. Let's see. There's channel member Cushman NYC, saying what's up, peoples. Good to see you, Cush. Channel member Blue Mox is here and hanging out. Right on. Good to see you, sir. There is Quentin James with the Q Raid. Let's see.
All one of them.
All one of them. Yeah.
People are
Channel member Ferd Burfel is here, saying hello to everybody there. Right on. Good to see you, Ferd.
Hey, Ferd.
Everybody
Let's
but
see.
us.
Kurt says, Quentin sent me here. Is this channel any good? I think somebody read that earlier. You know, it's aight. It's aight. It's not as good as that Under the Bus channel, but, you know, it's aight.
get by.
Let's see. Who else is here?
I deserve a goddamn penis!
Jesus.
Oops.
Man. That's the second time, Jimmy. I'm blowing my ears out. Third time we're gonna R2 you out of here. No,
Yep.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, still on holiday. Yeah.
Yeah, R2 still on personal holiday. Let's see, where was I? We said hey to Zach Thong, said hey to Blue Mox. Channel member Greasy Monkey Guitars is here.
Crazy.
Welcome in. Let's see, scrolling down, who else do we got? Symmetry hanging out in the chat and on panel. There's channel member Martian Murray is here, saying howdy. Right on. Good to see you. Wall of Cries is here. Right on. Florida Claimers Ted using his member for 2 months. Super chat. To do a little boogie woogie with a whole bunch of guitars. Right on, Ted. Good to see you hanging, man. Let's see. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights is here and hanging out. Right on. Wayne McConnell is here. Good to see you. Arkansas, channel member and mod to the channel. Hello, everyone. I'm co-hosting a show every Tuesday, so we'll be watching silently. Right on.
Well, thanks for coming in. Jumping out anyway.
Let's see. So she won't hear us say F you.
Maybe.
CMBR is here. Got to keep playing. Right on, right on. J. Paul, channel member, is here. Good to see you hanging with us. Let's see, we said hey to Hit Metalworks. Scrolling on down. I think I've got just about everybody. There's a Steve Rezor. Is it Rezor or Rezor? Reezer? Welcome in, Steve. Mr. Silva's here. Found you. Can't hide.
Nice.
Right on. Glad you found us.
Absolutely.
CLS. Channel member ARF is here saying hey to the crew. Right on. There's Bo, Guitar Man 45, saying hey to everybody.
What's up, Bo?
Good to see you. Let's see. Alonzo Guardia, channel member, saying what up, dude. So good to see you, man. And I think we've caught everybody so far. So without any further ado, let's get on over to the man of the hour, Mr. Jimmy. And so we're going to talk about the SLO2 module, and you're probably one of the first ones to get one, other than all the YouTubers that got them, way early. So comparatively to you've got the old module sitting there, or?
Nope. This is I actually just put new tubes in it.
Okay.
They were sitting on my porch when I got home. So, new tubes.
Right.
Took the cover off here, so.
What's up with your audio?
Well, I don't know. Is it weak?
Yeah.
He blew my ears out with the sound effect there a minute ago.
Your
I think his
voice.
mic's just a
That
little bit
getting
low.
better?
That's pretty good. It's good.
It's terrible.
I'm not doing this, John.
Come on.
Now we can hear you fine. Quentin says sounds like his RP360.
Yeah.
But you know what
That's
makes me even
pretty bad.
happier? Sucking balls.
Jeez. To each his own. To each his own. All right. So have you put that module in at all?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So, you've already heard it.
But that was
But-
with the other tubes.
Old tubes. They're OG tubes.
Well, not with the original tubes. That I swapped in the Sovtech LPS tubes into it and played it.
Okay.
And you probably didn't hear a lick of difference, did you?
So comparatively to, you do have an SLO module, the first one. And does that one have more of a clean and then overdrive, or is it the crunch and overdrive that's on that one?
It is just it's basically just the overdrive channel.
Okay.
And it's a little bit tighter, so it would be like running the SLO2 in the tight mode.
Okay.
It's already in that
Interesting.
module.
Interesting.
And honestly, I think that the SLO module has been a really popular module for Synergy.
Yeah.
It's a really tough one to beat. It does the job. You can.
Well, I've heard a couple of sound clips, with YouTubers demoing it. And I think it was maybe Pete Thorne that did a comparison with his actual SLO 100. And you could hear a bit of difference, but you could tell that it was right there in that same family. Yep. It had that same kind of crunch and growl to it for sure.
Pete made it sound great, man. Wow.
Yeah. So what all modules do you have in right now?
So right now I have the two modules that I've had for the last nearly 7 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Is the BEBB and the original SLO module.
Gotcha. And you've had that one since you bought that thing.
Yep.
So comparison wise, from that module to the new one, what's your opinion? Is it just more of the same and you just got another channel, or does it have a bit more gain to it?
I wouldn't say that it has more gain, but it's as far as the core sound. It's I've put them both in and just dialed them both in, and I mean I was doing that on I think it was last Thursday's Transtram show. Is I was just swapping back and forth between them. I had them set the same, and
Nobody knew
the difference.
Well, I can see the benefit to what they did with that one. The main difference is they added just a whole nother channel that you could set up.
And the crunch and the leech switch or the tight switch.
Ooh, getting fancy. Camera.
He does that for other nefarious things.
All right, so tell us what we're looking at here.
So we have the overdrive, and let's see, read here because I'm blind. Overdrive and crunch switch. Let's see if we can get this, and then the tight and normal switch for each channel on there. So you do have a little bit more functionality with this one.
Yep.
So are they mirror channels, Jimmy?
Yep.
Okay.
So I mean,
with their own EQ, though, their own tone stack.
Yes. But
so they're both exactly the same. You can just set them up differently.
Yes. So they're probably 95% the same. So what I mean by that is that when I first got the original module, it's 2 channels with a shared EQ, but when you go into the second channel of it, it has like just a touch more low end to it. So I thought, well, maybe it's just my module, components, aren't, all exactly the same. But I experienced the same thing with the 2. The second channel has just a touch more low end to it. So it must be something in the design.
A little slightly different in the tone stack or something.
With it, which isn't bad, because a lot of times I'll use that second channel for doing solos, so I don't mind a little bit more bass or low end in there just to kind of smooth things out a little bit.
Yeah. Alonzo's got a question. I'll try to catch questions as they come in. Is a module convenient? Is it more for recording, playing at home? What about playing gigs?
Yeah. Steve, I used one on the road.
It's great for everything. I mean, you could literally just have this in a single rack and your pedal board, and you can basically run that straight to front of house, because it has a built-in cab sim, which that's all I use with it. That everything that I've played on this channel has been the cab sim already in the unit.
So you've been hearing it all this time, Alonzo?
Alonzo, check your Instagram. I sent you a recent picture of Mark Tremonti's rig from this current Creed tour. He has a complete Synergy rig that he's running to front of house.
So those are a full-size 12 AX7 in there.
Yep.
It's amazing how they can cram that circuit into that small of a space.
So, and then this little switch here is a cathode bias switch, so that you can adjust the bass response.
Oh,
for
okay.
for the module. So it's got 3 different settings. So it's just like less bass to more bass, and it's usually the default setting is on the more bass position 3. So it's just switching into a different set of capacitors and resistors.
Now, does one setting make that bass a little tighter or loosen it up?
No, I would just say that it just increases the bass response through the different settings.
So different than a resonance switch, though.
Yep.
Okay. Just kind of a little bass boost.
Yeah, I mean it's not overly exaggerated. It's rather subtle but noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of guys like more bass than what they really need. You know, and if you're playing by yourself, it's always nice to have an option to thicken it.
Well, I mean, in a mix, the guitar should be living in that mid range.
Exactly.
The bass player handles the bass.
We like the thump.
We like a little thump with it, yep. Let's see. Can the cab sims, channel member ARF is asking, can the cab sims be loaded into those?
Nope. You got one option, and it's it's a pretty good sounding cab sim. I was quite surprised. You know, it's pretty versatile. Right? Yeah, I mean, and you can judge it on. I mean, it's what I've been using over the last 11 months. Well, except for maybe that first month where I was just being a auditory asshole to everybody.
Isn't the idea to kind of not go too digital with any of that stuff? It's basically analog tube circuit that you can change the flavors of.
Well, that kind of goes
they don't want to fuck
into
around with cab sims and all that stuff, right?
well, that goes into what Alonzo was saying here. When I brought up March Money, he said it's not a real amp. Well, it is, especially if you're running it with the Synergy 252 power amp.
Yeah, you run into a tube power amp, you're all tube. You know? Yep. So
you're just not a traditional amp circuit.
Right. Gotta say hello to channel member Steve Brand has found his way in, saying evening, chaps and chapettes. Good to see Steve.
So Steve also brings up the point that they're good enough for Mr. Steve Vai as well.
Yeah, but Trev said that earlier.
Yeah, kind of ass, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
So
we gotta say hey to Dwight.
Oh.
He's here.
Hitman.
Hopefully that blew everybody's ears out. Good to see you, Dwight.
So the power amp that I power that cab with and that one is a 1990 PV Classic Series tube amplifier. It's mono, 120 watts. Those are great power amplifiers. Kind of hard. They're getting hard to find now, and they're getting a little spendy. Don't ask me to buy mine because I have 4 of them. But I mean, I even contacted Dave Friedman and asked him, is there anything that you would do to this power amp? And he's like, nope, they're perfect as they are. Like, leave them be. It's basically the power section for a 5150 and Ultra series. So
So 100% analog in there. Blue Mox is asking.
Yep.
There's no digital converters or anything?
Nope.
It does make a 30-watt combo or a 50-watt head that their brand.
So I believe the 30-watt combo either is discontinued or will be discontinued in lieu of the IR20 that will be coming out.
But I mean, the list of the modules that you can get is you got Vi, Wagner, Diesel, Dr. Z, Angle, Friedman, Fryette, Metropolis, Morgan, Peavy, Soldano, Synergy. There's tons of them. So I mean, you could have all the crayons that you want to swap out.
Blue said he had a 50-50, sold it. Wish he never did. Which 50-50? I had one of the PV 120 120s. And I wish I had never sold that. Good stuff. So, Jimmy, I'm noticing that you do have the single module over there as well, right? Or is that just a box?
Nope, this is just the box,
Okay.
Aesthetics,
I was going to say, I wonder if it sounds any different in just the single module disc.
That like Randy was doing his research. Basically, the only difference between the two docks is that the Syn 1 does not have a stereo out.
Right. Which, of course, that we need, when we do this stuff.
Yeah. It does make a difference.
But if you were to come out and then go into a stereo pedal, then, I mean, you're right there.
Well,
you've got it.
I will show you one of the solutions that I found just for that.
All right.
Seems like the perfect kind of versatile thing for guys.
This
that don't
is
like.
the Flama FS07 cab, and it is
Llama.
yeah. So it is stereo in, stereo out,
Okay.
and it has a latency knob that basically gives you that stereo spread to where it'll put I think it's 25 millisecond delay up in one channel to kind of just give it that, perceived spread.
Right.
So does that give you any kind of different IR on it?
So
okay.
you got speakers.
And you don't use
level.
any of those.
Nope. But it just kind of, I'm going to set another one up. So I have my second Roadcaster here in this New X gizmo, and so I'm just gonna play with this.
Oh, I
and,
see. I got
so you can download your own IRs into it. I think I got 2 of them, and the people that I bought them from loaded. They deleted the factory IRs and put their own.
So you haven't been using that in your rig?
Nope.
Okay. All right. So you're just using the cab sim of the Synergy, and kind of explain to us, and we'll get. I guess you're going to plug it in and demo the module in a bit, but maybe we can talk about exactly what your signal chain is, because I'm going to get a piece of paper and write this down because
it's fucking good, man.
It is good. It's really good.
Well, if you're a studio guy, you can have all the different flavors going.
Yeah. And we've talked about, John and I's rig being the wet, dry, wet setup. And, I think that's kind of a primo thing. But very honestly, Jimmy, your tone is probably second to ours that I've ever heard. And it's a really, really close second. It sounds really, really good. So anybody
I think
that's
Jimmy's
looking,
tone is on par. It's just apples and oranges. At
yeah,
point.
it's just a bit
your
different.
Rig, I've got mine, and Jimmy's is fucking great.
Yeah, for sure. But a lot of folks are looking for how to kind of get this tone in. And, this is not going to be inexpensive. If you want good tone, you're going to have to spend some money.
Yeah.
If you're going to...
Is that stuff super spendy?
No.
So the Syn 2 dock is $799, and then each module is $399 regular price. But they'll go on sale every once in a while for it's like $339. Or you can, and now they've been around long enough that people are trying different modules, so they'll buy a module. Oh, I want this one, so let's sell those. So there are other modules on the secondary market.
And I have seen that there's communities too that will do a module swap. They're like, hey, I got this one and you got that one. Let's swap. It's like, okay. So,
your module's all dirty. Where you been sticking that thing?
And you're running a cab in the room,
$1,500
right?
and you've got basically a tube setup stereo.
Yep.
Well, along with all your pedals and whatnot that you want to run through it.
For the amplificator side, right?
Now, are you still running a cab in your room?
Nope, not right now.
So he can kind of turn that on or off.
You can still, so you can run the direct out, say into your Roadcaster, and then you can also run your main out into your power amp. Hey, look at that. and then mic that, and then run it back into the run the mic'd cab back into the Roadcaster, and basically do a faux wet dry wet. With just the Syn 2. Now it won't be the cab still has the effects loop in the main out, so you won't have your center cab being dry.
Right.
Yeah. Be stereo.
But what are you putting in the effects loop in your chain? That's where we were going. talk about your signal chain, if you would.
Okay. So it starts off with whatever guitar I'm using at the time, and then let's change the camera up here.
I just popped over and looked at the Sin 50 head, so 50-watt head, which is a dual dock, $1,600.
They got a 100-watt head too. It's a 3-dock.
I don't see the 100-watt listed on the website.
So wouldn't you be better to get the power station and use that as your power amp?
Maybe.
A lot of folks are doing that.
Yeah.
Or you can get on the reverbs and find you one of the old Randall RM series heads that take those modules. You can get those RM series heads for dirt cheap, or at least you used to could, because
Well,
those will
they're-
all work with the Fryette or the Egnator and the Randall stuff too.
Yep.
Okay, because
Yep. So they
Now, is that
only-
foot switch optional? Did you have to pay extra for that?
nope. That's I had to pay extra for that.
So it does not come with the rack
Does
mount.
not come. So
Okay,
it's
all
like it's another $100.
Okay, so there we go.
all the feet people coming in here.
So the only caveat with the RM stuff is that you can only use one channel if you put a synergy module into them. But you can. A lot of the modules have a switch that you can pick which channel that you want to run in the synergy module. Because they lack that. They don't have enough switching power.
I'm stupid.
run-
You said the only catch with the RM.
The one that Randy was just talking about, the
The
old
Randall head.
Randall. So you don't have that problem with the newer one.
Nope. But you can run the old. There's aftermarket. There's like Salvation Audio and a couple others that make their own modules that were meant for the Randall stuff, but they still work in the Synergy docks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of nice that there's there's reciprocation there that you can.
Just a real quick question. You've got 5 switches there. So is that like you can assign it to effects loop on off? You can assign it to the different channels of your 2 modules?
Nope. So it's strictly channel switching for the dock,
Okay.
and that's it.
Okay, so you can't control
So-
the effects loop. But so
Nope.
how do you have 5 different channels with 2 modules?
So it's not actually 5 channels. So basically, it's how I have mine set up is channel 1 and 2, or switch 1 and 2 are for the BEBB module,
Mm-hmm.
and then channel 3 and 4 are for the 2 channels of the SLO. So I just basically, it's just a going from clean to all the gain, and the
Okay.
5th switch is the bypass.
Okay. Bypass for what?
It to just basically shut the module, shut the unit off.
Okay, so you would just get DI guitar if you did that.
Yep.
All right. So you do get a pass through though. So-
Are the modules hot swappable? You can just pull one out and push one in while the rig is up and running, or do you have to hit that bypass?
Yes. Well, I would recommend
yeah, I wouldn't recommend it.
by at least hitting the bypass, because I've done it a couple times with the unit still hot, and sometimes it'll just send it kind of wild to where it'll mess up your channel dedication, because you can program the channels on the unit.
Yeah, you don't want to be fucking with tubes when they're hot and it's, current running through them.
So focus there. So we got the bypass, and then your channel select switch. So if you I want the second channel on the SLO module to be channel 1. So I'd hit channel 1, and then hit your channel select and press it in, and then it programs that channel to 1. So you can program the channels to different switches. It doesn't have to be in order like that. So it's
pretty cool, man.
But I don't know. I think overall it's a it's a pretty good unit, especially for doing this type of thing.
Well, even a lot of the bigger acts that have been using Kempers and stuff are starting to gravitate more towards the synergy stuff as time goes
Sounds
on.
real.
Well, because too, when you're pumping that through a tube power amp and in the room powering a cab, you know, it sounds full. Sounds full.
Well, like he was saying earlier, how you can run the two different feeds. The guys in Opeth, Frederick and Michael, are doing that. They've got their DI feed, so they're sending, you know, the cab simmed sound straight to front of house, but then they have the other feed going to mic cabs behind them, and then the front of house is blending the two.
Well, aren't both outputs cab simulated?
Nope.
No.
Just the direct out is cab simulated.
Okay.
So your main out is meant strictly for a power amp.
Yep.
All right. See, I wasn't aware of that. Maybe that's where I was having issues before when I tried to hook mine up to my Roadcaster. I was like, why does it not sound like Jimmy's? So if that's the case, then it could take a direct cab simulated out straight into the Roadcaster and then come another out into one of my Palmer speaker emulators and then have that feed the stereo effects and have a wet, dry, wet.
Ryan is using you as a sounding board here for this.
For the guinea pig here, Jimmy.
Why not?
I mean,
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I've just been toying with this thing, you know, because I mean, years ago I did some videos and I was just using a crappy Behringer mixer, you know, running through that cab, and just using mic sounds because at the time I was just like, you know, I was just getting into it, so I was just like noob to the stuff because I've always just been plug into the amp and crank that bitch up.
Right. All right. So for the last 25 minutes, we've been trying to see your signal chain.
You had mentioned this earlier, Bo. All we've heard is through the Roadcaster, but he does have a PV power amp and a couple of big ass cabs that he can and has used, but not for our privilege
Correct.
yet.
So, I mean, at this point, I mean,
What's the point?
I couldn't for trying to keep this set up as simple as it can be. I am more than definitely happy with the result that I've gotten.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, hell yeah,
man.
dude. Sounds awesome.
All right.
Question, bro.
So you're going guitar into that wah. Is that the 95 or the 535Q?
This is the 535Q, not James either. So then in the front is, of course, tuner, and then my freak out pedal that I just found the other day and was messing with. You heard it on Sunday.
And that's the pitch kind of thing.
Yep, it's just basically a feedbacker that you can adjust. You know, you can do natural harmonics, high harmonics, low harmonics.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's kind of a finicky pedal. Is you don't want to put another high gain pedal in front of it because it basically freaks out because it's all dependent. It's all dependent on signal. So if you overdrive it, it's uncontrollable. So generally, you want to put that first. I mean, granted, I have this in front of it, but I don't run the two at the same time.
Ooh, that would be nasty. Ooh.
Followed by the Friedman Buxom Boost, which I really this is a great pedal.
Mm-hmm.
It's got an EQ that you can switch on or off. It's got a tight control. I mean, you can look it up and see it, but you've heard it for the last couple weeks. Is most of the time that thing is on, just to tighten things up even more.
And that's the Friedman Buxom Boost. Okay.
I had one for a while. It was really good.
I mean, you said most of the time it's on?
Yep.
Okay.
The only time it gets shut off is trying to do lower gain stuff.
Right.
But I've been really happy with it. I mean, it's nice that it has the EQ on it.
And so far, this is all stuff that's in front, basically in front of the amp or in the effects loop.
The MXR is just hanging there because sometimes it gets swapped in. Sometimes it just hangs out there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that goes into the input, which is the red cable going into the
Now,
Syn 2.
does it pass through that EQ first?
Nope.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so on the Syn 2 is you have two input options. You have the one on the front, and then where the red cable is, you can input from the back. I usually use the back because we're like right here. I'll probably hit it with the guitar headstock and knock the damn thing off the thing right now. So I'm just
or Arky's head will hit it.
You bastard.
You only hit her from the back.
Oh my God, it's so juicy.
So then we have our effects loop, which is it comes out mono, but then the return is stereo.
Okay.
So I start off my effects loop chain with. Right now, I've got this Digitech multi-chorus.
No, I'm sorry. This is the DI out that you're bringing out to feed this?
Nope, this is just the effects loop
of
the
is
Syn 2.
Effects loop send comes down here. Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so, and I mean, I have to say that this Digitech multi-chorus, this is a damn good chorus. So I've been swapping this back and forth with the Eventide micro pitch, trying to decide which one I like better. Now the multi-chorus is stereo out, and as you crank this far knob on the white right here up, is it starts to give you even bigger stereo spread.
Gotcha.
So, and then what I would consider the secret sauce of the sound, if you will, is this TC Electronics Mimic.
And what does that do?
You went all in with that, eh? That's cool, man.
Yep.
Excellent.
So it's just another. It's a signal splitter. It's supposed to do the stereo thing.
So to give you a little more separation.
Well, it's not just a little. It's very, very noticeable. I would say
so
anybody.
It gives you that wide, fat sound that a detune would give you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you can run a. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jimmy. You can run a mono signal into that, and it will duplicate it.
Yep. Yep, because it's stereo in, stereo out.
You can run a mono signal into that, and it mimics it and makes it sound stereo, widens it out too.
So your knobs here is you have levels for each side, and then the knob at the top center is basically would be the same as the latency knob on this. So it just puts a little bit of delay on one side.
Right.
And then you have options. There's a little switch to the side labeled dubs. So 1, 2, 3, and each one is a little bit of spread, 2 is even more, and then 3 is just out of control.
So the reason that you would want to do that, for anybody in the chat wondering, is a lot of albums are double tracked. The guitar player will put down 2 tracks, and then they'll put one on the left, one on the right. And a lot of times the timing of the playing, because it's 2 different takes, or they may reamp it, and they'll put a little bit of a delay on it to make it sound like, you've got 2 guitar players playing at the same time.
Yep. I mean, you've heard it I mean, I'm sold on that pedal now. It's like you want a stereo rig, you got to have that in it.
I read a review on that years and years ago, and the guy said it was so good he fired his second guitar player.
So then out of there, you're going into the delay as your last effect pedal.
Last.
Well, before the EQs.
So we go stereo into the SDE,
Mm-hmm.
and then we go out of that, and then each side has its own graphic EQ pedal that I adjust differently because I'm trying to get that perfect balance of I want each side to sound just slightly different to even accentuate. It's like, oh, okay, two different guitar sounds with two different, EQ settings on there to kind of give the, even more appearance that, hey, it almost sounds like two different guitars.
Right. It's really interesting to me, the different approaches that different guitar players, have to get their sound,
Yep.
So this is a really, really, really cool way that you're doing this, Jimmy. I like it. It a lot. I think that's really cool to have those EQs on the end so you can kind of shape it to whatever it is that it's going into.
Yep. And it helps. I mean, I know John's mentioned a couple times that's like, well, it sounds like your left channel, it sounds louder than the right channel. It's like, well, I have the levels set equal on both channels. It's just that
that's accidentally on purpose.
Yeah,
right.
with the left channel is a little bit more mid-heavy, so it gives you the perceived loudness because mids. That's what you're hearing.
Yeah,
sounds good, Jimmy. Whatever it is you're doing, man.
Hey, we got Kurt Rocks is here saying, "Hey Ryan, what is up? Welcome in, Kurt. Haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back."
So, and then those two outputs go out back into the back of the Syn 2. One, into the stereo return, and then it's just the direct outs with the applied cab sim right into the Roadcaster, and that's it. I don't know how you can make it easier because this company makes a distortion and a delay pedal of the same ilk with stereo ins and outs, and you can basically just take three of these pedals. You can have your gain and then an effect, and then run this last, and then split that out and do the same thing. That would be like super simple, but they're all digital pedals.
some of that.
There's nothing bad, wrong with that.
Right.
But if you could basically just have your rig on a pedal board.
Right. Pretty good travel rig, if you will.
Yep.
Fly rig.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or driving and flying these days.
Blue Mox has a question. So the cab sim is in the module housing, not in the preamps?
Yep.
Yep.
And if you weren't going to the Roadcaster and you were going into a power amp at that point, you would need your stereo power amp with left and right cabs to
Right.
ice that.
And it's just a button you hit and turn the cab sim on and off, right?
Yep.
Now, if you bought the 50-watt head, does that have a stereo out? Does it do that inside, or
Nope.
no?
Nope. The heads are a different animal altogether. They don't have direct outs. They're just meant to be strictly ran with a cab.
So, Jimmy, you've obviously taken this and just run it from the dock into a power amp into a cab and cranked the shit out of it, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it sounds killer or what?
Yep.
Any different, you would say, than just doing a traditional tube amp head?
Well, basically that's what it, effectively becomes.
That's what I'm thinking, right?
those PV amps are no slouches.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because I think Blue Mox was asking earlier about cab sim versus actually in a room, you know.
I mean, cab sims that have got pretty good,
Yeah.
but you can't replicate a speaker moving air.
No.
Right.
Agreed, my friend.
Hey, Tommy. Good to see you, brother.
I mean, you can try to approximate it, but I mean, it's just a whole different dynamic
It is,
from.
yeah.
I mean, you get that when you're standing in front of a loud guitar cab. I mean, you get this, guitar cabinet, guitar connection. And it becomes a whole different feel, and
100%.
I mean, it's
Quentin says that
You've ever been playing a
XXL,
tube amp
pretty
and you
good
put
sounding
your
head.
headstock on your head.
And then Tom says, nobody gives a F what you think, old man.
Loser!
So that, I mean, with that, the XXL, I mean, the power section's kind of different because they say, oh, it's got a transformer, to run the power section. And I talked to James Brown about it because he did have a hand in designing that amp. He wasn't the head designer. There was
Did he
another
feel good
dude.
that day?
Yeah.
I'm sure that dude never heard that joke before.
Yeah. So the XXL uses what he called a feedback transformer, which is just basically, we know that solid state amps, they don't produce,
High voltage.
they don't produce, it's a current thing.
Right.
So the feedback transformer is just basically mimicking what, the output transformer would do on a tube amp. But since PV, they like to put preamp out and preamp ins on a lot of their amps. I mean, from their solid state ones to like the ultra amps, even the little 212, the trans tube stuff, and then the big 120 plus. Is I like to take, especially on the XXL, because usually if I go somewhere to play, that's what I'm taking.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'll do is just take a line from the preamp out, and then go right into the classic 120 power amp, and then drive the cabinet with the tube power amp, and it sounds completely different. It just changing the power section to
Why
a
wouldn't you
tube power
take a
amp.
Synrig instead of the Triple X?
Well, because for right now, these things are cheap.
Right,
but they last forever. So if it falls off the cab or somebody dumps a beer on it, it's probably going to keep working. But it's fun to experiment with this stuff. But just changing the power section to a tube power amp is a night and day difference, and all of a sudden this thing becomes a fucking raging beast.
Well, you're turning that thing into a Synergy, right? So you're using it as a Synergy module.
More or less, I'm just using the preamp out of that, and since you don't have to have a load on it, even with the feedback transformer in the power section, you can just go preamp out and say, yep, I don't have to worry about putting a load on the speaker output.
So it must sound like ass if you run a power amp besides it then, instead of that.
Yeah, these can sound good with the existing guts. It's just, it's speaker selection is everything.
Yeah.
That's the problem with a lot of solid state amps is they get crap speakers put in them that sound like dick. And then they get pooed on.
Yeah.
The first Red Stripe Bandit 112 I had the Sheffield, the 12-inch Sheffield in it, and I put a
Scorpion speaker.
No, that was the what do they call it? The Gray Stripe. That was the era before the Red Stripe.
Yep.
Right.
But it's 12-inch Sheffield, and I swapped it for a V30.
What kind of 30?
A vintage 30.
I was hoping you go V30 again.
And what a difference, dude. What a difference. Now, the current Bandit 112 that I own still has a Sheffield in it, so I may swap it. I might swap that out because or you can just disconnect those and run them as a head.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That was one of the cool things about those PV trans tube combos is you could effectively just, the speaker out would power a cabinet.
Yeah.
And you could just use them as a head. People cut them things down like Jimmy's right there.
Yep. So this is a special 212 head.
I mean, it's handicapped.
Yeah. Yeah, the lighting.
Yeah, that's a red stripe special 212.
So if you use the secondary speaker out, it goes from 80 watts to 130 watts.
I think the Bandit did 80 to 100. That went from 80 to 100. It's 80 if you run it as a combo. If you run it as a speaker out, it's 100.
And and these have the preamp in, preamp out, just like the XXL. And so I've done the same thing with this preamp section, and ran it into the tube amp, and once again, it's like, I mean, it just transforms the amp. It's like, so I have, yeah, granted, Bandit's got a lot of crap for a lot of years, and then now it's like, okay, well, we'll concede, yeah, they're actually great amps.
It's funny, a lot of the stuff that was current when I was growing up, we all thought it was fucking terrible. Now, it's all of a sudden it's classic and everybody wants it. It's like, okay. Like a 90s era Strat.
I've got one of those.
Yep. But the sound. So back to the Synergy here. So what we'll do is we'll pop out the BEBB module. So and that's accomplished by, you have these thumb screws on the front, and that locks the module in once it's inserted.
So is your
Oh my God,
docking
it's so
station
juicy.
built in?
Say again, John.
Is your docking station built right into your desk there?
Well, not yet. I'm still getting.
Okay, yeah.
I'm just gonna router a hole
Yeah.
here in the top, and then just drop the thing in, and then I've got a little a 5-inch computer fan. Since these are just basically passively cooled, they just have holes in the top of the unit and the bottom to allow airflow through the modules.
Right. And you pop the grills off them because they normally come covered, those tubes, right?
Yep. So then I'll just mount the fan behind it, and then it'll just sit right there, and then I can just access everything there, and it'll be nice and cooled. So we just take this. She slides out.
It's completely powered off at the moment, right?
Yes. Now they say you can do it hot swapping them.
Why would you bother? Yeah.
Just turn the damn thing off.
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself that extra little layer of insurance.
Yeah.
So it's just like swapping out a game on your Sega Genesis, Quentin.
Yep. Or your Atari 2600.
So
does it snap into place? Is it like you can hear a tactical kind of...
it's got a big tab
right
in the back.
Right
Here.
Okay. Yeah.
And you can feel it when that engages into the dock.
Right.
In the back unit, because you'll go and you'll push, it'll be easy, and then once you hit the slide in the back, then it's just a little bit extra push, and it's engaged.
And you're balls deep.
Yep.
And just use the thumb screws to make sure she doesn't vibrate.
Yep, and they don't have to, they just have to be snug. Don't go cranking them down, because that's when you start fucking shit up.
Don't go cranking them down.
So,
Baby.
and once you're there, you just power the unit on. Power switches in the back with the ground lift.
Look at that.
All right, so let's hear this thing, man. Let's get some sound demos.
They're looking for an
So,
AB.
I think, he's going to do the original one first, and then plug the second one in.
Okay.
Maybe?
So I'm really interested in, you've got the Sin 2 dock, Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
So were you not using the direct outs?
I really don't know what I was doing. There was a little button that said cab sim, so I pushed that.
Okay.
And I was not using any kind of effect loop. I think that I was just going right into the Roadcaster and listening to it. I was like, yeah, this sounds like garbage.
Okay. So the cab sim is specifically for the direct outs, and when you push the button in, is you deactivate the cab sim.
Kind of like the RP365.
So with the button out is cab sim active.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll need to plug it in and check it out again for sure. Blue Mox is asking, so you can also plug in a 4090 NVIDIA card?
That didn't look like quite.
Well, you can try.
Maybe
Popcorn, Q. Popcorn.
You get to see the actual. This is a geekery show, Tommy. But here it comes. So, Jimmy.
Yes.
If you could give it to us, like just raw dog it, send into the thing, and then start adding all your awesomeness to it.
Yep.
That'd be awesome. Yes. There.
So we're going to do that with the old one, and then we'll go through the whole cycle again with the new one.
Oh, geez, that sounds great.
Okay, so we will start with, we're on
Good grief, boy, that's kind of bassy.
Okay, so we're going to start with channel 1 of the SLO2. So I'm in overdrive and on tight. And so I'm going to set it exactly the same as the original SLO.
All right.
Here's the original SLO. So here's something I've noticed with the newer modules. It even happens with the 6505. Is that I find that I have to run the channel volumes higher than the old modules.
Interesting.
And that's not a tube thing. That's with matched tubes across the modules.
Yep.
Right? Okay.
So can we hear?
So I've
Can we hear them back to back again?
Yep. SLO2. SLO. You can tell that there's
A little bit more fullness, a little bit more.
so that's with them just basically with the dials the same.
Right.
But so of course we can adjust that, and like I said last Thursday is I had them both dialed in to sound exactly the same and was switching between the two modules the whole show, and nobody's like, oh, something sounds different. It's like, so they I mean basically sound exactly the same.
Well, in a mix, I mean, you're not going to be able to tell too much.
Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is if you have the original SLO module, you should be happy with it.
Yep. Unless you want the added functionality of, less gain and a tight. But, I mean, the original SLO already has the tight built into it. So you basically is
but
just...
you do have separate EQ for each one now.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's the main difference.
Yep. And, I mean...
Dry, right?
That's what he's doing right now, Tom. That's no pedal, nose delayed, right?
The stereo.
Oh, I accidentally had the mimic on.
Okay.
Everything's off. Here's with the mimic.
Oh yeah.
Okay, here's, now I'm going to add in the multi-chorus. The squeals sound neat with that stereo spread on them.
Yep. Sounds like his, what was that, a SPX 90 or something?
Yeah.
That he used.
So then we go even more. So I'm just going to flip on the Buxom boost.
Right on.
Then we add the SDE.
Right on.
I mean that's pretty much it. I mean, I've tried to simplify this as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, overall, when everything's working right and not burning up.
Yep. Now, did you have the EQ pedals on as well? Or
so
did
those
you
are
have everything off?
Everything was off.
The EQ pedals were out and everything.
Yep.
Okay. Tom was wanting to just hear it with absolutely nothing. Which, that's cool. But I'm like, I want to hear it with all the goop on because that's how I'm going to play it 100% of the time anyway.
Yep.
Right?
With the headphones on, right?
Yeah. Yeah, sounds good, man.
Dude, the difference when he switched the mimic on was just like, oh.
Yeah, it was just like,
yeah. And I have...
that's what it's like switching the Eventide on and off.
Yeah.
And that third ball pops out.
Yeah. So I have Leon Todd to thank for turning me on to the mimic pedal.
Mm-hmm.
Because he did a video. It wasn't actually too long ago. I think him and that European, that Cole dude.
I know who you're talking about.
He did a video on it too, where it's like, oh, get rid of a second guitar player, or no longer double track your guitars. You could potentially, mimic the same thing with this pedal.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, so I bought one, and that's the point where everything basically changed with this rig. Now, at the time, I was running a bunch of single was running hardwire, the hardwire pedals. I was running 2 CR7 choruses and 2 DL8 delays, and they are stereo in, stereo out. And then I went from that, and then so it was basically the Digitech multi-chorus, the Mimic, and then the SDE, and that's when that's when the floodgates opened up.
I ought to buy a Mimic and then run it in between the Yamaha and the Roadcaster and see what
Oh,
happens.
for Christ.
Easy
See,
now.
it's funny because, like, Ryan, you really like that harmonizer, super prominent, right? It's fucking like this. I like it just enough where it takes the regular raw tone and just a little bit.
That's how I feel about it.
It's one of
sounds
those.
great either way.
It's one of those effects though that when you're in the room and you're playing, you really don't notice it. I mean, because you got this big, huge, wet, dry, wet spread in the room, and kind of the same thing when you're listening to it on the headphones. It's like, man, this sounds really good, really good. Then you turn it off and you're like, oh no, turn it back on.
Usually when I'm playing here at home, I don't have any effects on. I just sit in front, in between the 3 cabs, and turn it up.
Yeah.
That's just preference.
Yeah, just preference. Everybody's a bit different.
Does bounce around that room pretty good, though, John. Just saying.
Yeah.
When you're sitting in that hot spot.
And Tom says, way less wet. Says the guy with 8,000 rack units, 800 different speaker cabinets.
Did you ever get your Benson
Four
Echo Rec thing?
3,000 harmonizers. Did you ever get what?
They reproed an old Benson Echo Rec, the one with the metal disc and delay unit that Gilmore made quite popular.
Right.
Back when.
Wasn't that something that was recently released at NAMM that they
A year or
showed?
so ago. Yeah, you got it. Echo Rec clone. It's really good. There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like his fair warning tone type thing is my jam.
Well, Bent Tom says he's thinking South America, not balance. Well, we're going from stereo to wet, dry, wet. So,
But like everybody's ever said about Ed, he just turns things up.
More is more sometimes.
More is more.
What all modules have you tried, Jimmy? You got the BE, you've got the 2 SLOs, you got a 6505.
And then the other module is the Plexi module.
Okay.
Which really isn't Plexi at all.
Okay. Have you tried any of the other ones?
It's too much gain to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so you've got gain 1 and 2. It's almost similar to like the Fryette modules where you have your gain 1, which would be brighter, and then your gain 2, which is darker, and then you can mix them or just run either or on full. But I haven't messed with the module a whole lot. Now I could probably reduce that gain by putting in a 12AY7 or a 5771 tube with a little bit less gain in the tube to just kind of tame that down a little bit. But it was, I don't know, it hasn't been one of Friedman's more popular modules for that reason. Too much gain.
He's got too much other stuff.
I didn't know Metropolis had a module.
Yep.
That would be cool.
So, but I mean, I have countless hours listening to everybody's, little demos, with pretty much all the modules. Yeah. And I mean, I just don't hear anything that sounds better to me to justify, granted I bought the 6505 module because at the time I thought my SLO module was taking a dump on me when in reality it was the actual dock that was starting to, to come apart. So I'm going to revisit the 6505 again and see and correct it, do a proper little, run through on it and
cool.
So I'll probably just sell eventually, one of the few things I want to sell because I think that I do want to try the Marietta Deliverance module.
Mm-hmm. That would sound good.
That one's got me kind of interested because apparently it's a lot less compression and pretty dry and raw sounding.
Kind of like a Wizard. Have you ever played a Wizard amp?
Nope.
Yeah, they're.
I have.
They're hard to play, but they sound great.
Two different bogs.
Because there's no compression, nothing. It's just you look at it and it's making noise at you.
Two different diesels, only one Dr. Z, the Dr. Z Rec. Two different kinds of angles. 5 different kinds of Friedmans.
Mm-hmm.
2 kinds of Fryets. 1 kind of a Metropolis. 1 kind of a Morgan. 1 kind of PV. The 2 Soldanos and 7 different Synergy ones. That's a crap ton of modules. If you actually have all of those, Bo, that's impressive because you said you had them all.
John, which Wizard did you play?
One of the earlier ones. This was early 2000s.
Okay, I've played the MTL, which is the amps that Richie Faulkner's using now. He left Engel and he's playing the Wizard MTLs.
Okay.
They're more compressed, not as stiff, but they've got a lot more. They've got a lot more gain on tap too. They're a lot more saturated.
This one was like a plexi
fucking loud
sag.
Oh yeah, the MTL's got some sag.
No, this barked at you the moment you touched it.
The MTL is probably more along the line if you took like a JCM 800 and put a Maxon OD808 or a Super Overdrive or something in it, in front of it.
No, they're great amps. Freaking expensive, but
they're fucking loud.
Yeah, really loud. No, I A-B'd it. I had my 101B Bogner and the Wizard side by side, and the Wizard just killed it. Killed the 101. And it sounded like I had 3 compressors on when I was playing my Bogner.
Switching up, changing games. We're gonna put in Miss Pac-Man.
So for shits and tickles, let's just I'm gonna pop this plexi in and let's hear what this thing has to offer.
Yeah.
So who made that module?
That's a Synergy module.
Oh, okay.
Dave Friedman. Your AOL modem?
Yeah. That come warm up. So we're on channel 1. Let's take number 1. So this would be the bright. lot of
Sounds
gain
just like
for
mine.
a
So it's a
plexi.
plexi with an overdrive in front of it.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so now let's try knob labeled number 2.
It should be the bass channel.
So you can hear it's not as bright as 1. Now we're cranked. I never heard a plexi sound like that.
Of course, you're in a drop C guitar, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
We'll run both channels at noon. Now it's just maximum.
getting a little flubby on that top end.
Yep.
Overdriving the roadcaster.
Overdriving the
I think.
overdrive.
Yeah. Sounds good though.
Mm-hmm.
Now that was no pedals whatsoever.
Yep, no boost. The mimic and the chorus is on.
Okay.
We'll take that shit off for a sec. Por favor. I like that.
Pretty dry.
John likes it dry.
No, put all the goop on.
Now put the goop on everything.
Dime that sucker and put all the goop on it. How's that for some sag?
Right.
Yeah.
So, which also, now that good thing you mentioned that, Randy, because there is this little knob on the master volume for the unit that labeled sag to mimic power transformer sag.
Interesting.
Neat.
So that's at low volumes, it doesn't really do a whole lot. But once you start cranking the volumes up, especially the master volume on the unit, is then you start getting it. So you really got to start pushing some volume, which,
Mm-hmm. Now, do you find that acts like an amp too? Because, you get to a volume sweet spot that if you go more, you just start getting, hash. Do you find the same thing on that? The reason I'm asking is because where you had it turned up, we were getting some of that hash coming through like it was.
That's all preamp, though.
It could have been overdriving the
yeah,
road.
but that was with the bass. The bass channel cranked up, it does get pretty woofy.
Mm-hmm.
Because the bass on the EQ was at probably, I don't know, like maybe 4 o'clock on the knob.
Mm-hmm.
So that channel 2 gets pretty woofy.
Gotcha.
There. So when I was messing with it, it was basically crank channel 1, and then just start bringing 2 in to get some, start introducing some low end into it, and then EQ accordingly.
Mm. Gotcha.
Everything's been at noon. So it's with treble crank.
Now, do you have like an amp volume and then a master volume for the whole unit, or?
So we just have channel volumes, and then the master volume for the unit does not work with direct out. It works only with main out running into a power amp.
Gotcha. Okay.
So when you're running your modules, do you crank the shit out of them?
Nope. Usually they're sitting at probably about like 1 o'clock, 1:30.
Okay.
Is that where it is now?
Yep.
Well, let's hear it in a mix of a song, man.
Okay.
You can play whatever you want. I don't have any. No need for all the commercials to make 25 cents and then irritate everybody. So those will be off from now on. Kind of like to hear you play the SLO module, though.
I think he's switching back now.
Yep. Switching back since the show is about the SLO2.
Right. Now, do you think that you will keep the original SLO module? Or?
Oh, I mean, I'll be completely honest with you. With sitting here and A being the 2, is overall sound is the original SLO module is just beats it by a hair.
So you're gonna send the new one back and get your money back then?
No.
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 The other thing is too is you've listened to that first one for a long time.
Yep.
So give your ears a bit with the new one and see what happens.
Yeah.
Just the AB that he did tonight. To me, the original SLO sounds like it's got a little more presence.
Yep.
Because he said he had them dialed the same.
Yeah.
So the original to me had a little more presence, like it cuts just a little bit better, whereas the 2 was a little more rounded.
But like
ear.
I said, you can dial the 2 to sound like that. So
Yeah. So I mean, in like I said, like last Thursday, I was playing both modules in the context of a mix, and you couldn't really. I couldn't differentiate between the 2. I mean, even though, you can. I mean, you can take 2 identical amps and set them the same. They're probably going to sound a little bit different,
little
just
variance,
because of component tolerances.
Yep, for sure. Ben Tom says, play something nice and slow.
Nobody wants you here.
I actually meant to hit this one.
Wow, just look at all these tampons. Regular, heavy flow. Oh boy, I can't wait till I get my first period.
Oh my God, it's so juicy.
Can't wait till I get my first period.
My God, are you still talking?
While he's setting up. Holy crap.
Can't wait till I get my first period.
My God, are you still talking?
I know. You can blame Randy for that. I just last night I spent like
Holy crap.
2 hours after
Can't wait till I get my first period.
My God, are you still talking?
doing stuff, so I filled every sound pad. You can blame Randy for that. I just
Now he's got
last
his
night
YouTube coming through the phone.
So now I've got like four banks of sound bites, most of them South Park.
That's good.
Awesome.
Quentin is wanting us to hurry up so he can go live.
Fattest part of my ass.
Exactly.
Why does Quentin want to go live? I mean,
Mother of God, it's all toilet sounds.
I have to be careful. I don't have them labeled yet, so I got to be careful which ones I press. Oh no, too far.
Bobby.
I like them French fried potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
You ready, Jimmy?
All right, then.
So we're just going to do the old standby that John loves.
All right. And this is this SLO2 module.
So we are
running.
we are running overdrive and tight.
Like it tight.
All right, then.
So the other thing that I noticed is that it sounds just like a tad bit grainy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's kind of what SLOs are, the big grainy sound, right?
So it's even
more so.
So I with the SLO2, it's even. I mean, I don't really notice it a whole lot on the original one, but it's definitely more present in the 2.
Mm. And how does it feel under your fingers?
Well, I mean, it's fairly compressed on there, so it's relatively easy to play.
Mm-hmm.
It feels just like the original module.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, let's hear it, man.
Okay.
In a mix.
Let's rock it, man.
Let's do it.
Of a desperate land, do you give a damn?
good. Sounds excellent.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yep. Awesome, brother.
just like the other one. I bought the thing, going into it, okay, well, it's going to be complete redundancy for the most part. But
Right.
like I said, it's got a few other options on it for a little bit more functionality, for, less gain. But to me, Soldano it's a high gain amp, and that's how I run it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
know,
sounds
so-
good.
Good to have redundancy too.
So
Yep.
down the road is I'll mess with the lower gain settings on it.
Well,
And
yeah.
I
mean,
did
you may
mess with
eventually.
it.
Yeah, you may eventually have tunes that aren't
Yeah,
balls
I
out
mean,
like that, and you want to
'cause
kick into it for a little bit or something.
I did last Thursday. I had the second channel set to the crunch mode, and just slightly less gain. So some of the bluesier stuff that we were doing, is I was using that on those tunes there, and that didn't seem to offend anybody. So
No, man,
Not
you're
at all.
really dialing it in, man. It sounded really good.
Yeah.
Really.
Blue
It's
Mox
six-
is saying it's perfect in the mix for sure.
That's exactly what I was about to say. For the stuff that Jimmy plays, that thing sits in the mix great.
For
Hey,
sure.
like I said, it's to me, I think it's one of Synergy's best modules that they've done.
Yeah, I mean that's.
And it does help that Mike Soldano designed the module as
Right.
well.
Yep.
I mean, it's really hard to beat, and when you start, I've got EQ options here. Is just like, if you need it to, you can adjust that sound basically to pretty much fit whatever
Yeah.
you want on there, and that's why I've stuck with these two modules, because between the BEBB module and the original SLO module is you can cover a ton of ground, and an added benefit
Very
is
well.
that the BB side of the Friedman module is actually a really great pedal platform on top of it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Very
the thing
cool.
is the commonality between all of us is we're not these guys that like 47 different models and sounds and this and that. We like our core tone and just a little bit of goop here and there, and
Yep.
and that's it. Do the playing.
I literally, when I play, it's just volume knob up or down.
Yeah.
For
And-
different stuff,
And that's the
or
big
pick
difference.
up selector.
Yep. And it's a good thing you brought that up, Ryan, because that's the one thing that I find that's lacking with modelers is volume rollback on your guitar. Is where essentially a tube amp is I'm backing my volume down quite a bit, and it still stays. You got the core tone, nothing really gets. Of course, I'm running a 560 picofarad capacitor on my volume knob as a treble bleed, so that helps. But I've noticed even with this new X on all this modeler stuff is they do not react well to volume roll off on your guitar.
Yep. Yep, for sure. Any questions in the chat? Maybe.
If you buy just the Syn 2, it comes empty. There's no modules in it.
Correct.
Correct. Alonzo's talking about a world with low or no gain. That would be awful. That would be the 50s and 60s. Well, the 50s.
And then they turned it up loud, so there was like the
Arky
Not
says,
gain.
man, that one little riff sounded cool AF on that original backing track you did on Sunday. What little riff? Well, somebody did a riff that Arky liked.
Oh, your that little backing track that you made, Ryan.
Yeah, but what riff? Maybe, I guess she's talking about the whole track. Who knows?
Probably when I was using my freak out pedal,
Could
kind of
be.
sliding, single string sliding, keeping the sustain going.
6-string soldier, welcome in. Says, what does Pliny, David, Maxim, Mick, and Wydick use for over the top tones? I don't know who any of those people are.
I've heard of Pliny.
Yeah, I think they're modelers, those guys.
I think so.
Wicked
Which,
players, man.
I mean, yeah. I mean, and great sounds. I mean, if you're willing to put the time in to go deep diving and menus and all that, yeah, you can get some pretty killer sounds out of modelers.
It's about the feel and the
Yep.
inspiration it gives you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Didn't Pliny, that guy that Vi was all up in arms about, talking about he was like the future of great guitar or something like that a few years ago?
Yeah.
Hip says he uses neural stuff. So that'd
Aussie
be the
guy, right?
Quad cortex.
Aussie, yeah.
That's right. Neural, isn't that the same thing? Neural
Yeah.
quad cortex. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I guess that's going to about do it for tonight. Coming up on an hour and 45.
I guess
Yeah,
that's
managed to
it
drag
for
it out that
tonight.
long. That's amazing.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
And we still
Interesting
got
stuff,
44,000 watching. So that's cool. Let's see. They used effed up guitars and models. All those players.
That's the
Modelers.
commonality.
Right. So now the question is, what do y'all want to see next week? Leave it in the comments of this video.
Of this show. Yeah. Put it in the comments. Now, Randy's got that GP16 for sale. So it might be gone.
If he's
We
lucky.
got that Steinberger guitar there is for sale too. It might, it'll be here.
I've got a plethora of Charvels and Les Pauls, and Jimmy's got a whole bunch of stuff. Trev's got stuff. John's got stuff.
Lots of stuff. Randy, you got a guitar on? John, you got a guitar on? No?
I'm not. No, my levels are all fucked up because I was
gotcha.
playing really loud today.
All right. Well, I've been messing with this guitar the whole show, trying to get it calibrated.
That upside
Play
down.
something, brother.
Would you trade a pallet of barbecue chips for that axe? I know my answer would be no, Randy.
How about no?
Yeah.
There is a
Beaten up by a guy dressed like a chick.
There is a kid on the old Facebook Marketplace around here that's got a Kotzen Telecaster on there for sale. I thought about
They're not
messaging
huge
him.
money, are they?
They're new what the JP16s are kind of going for used.
Oh, okay.
See if maybe he wanted to trade with a little cash or something. Like pay me cash.
My dad's got one of those. I gotta.
The dude's like, the neck's too big. I like thin shredder necks, so I'm getting rid of it. And I'm like, the neck's too small. I need a big neck.
Yeah. Well, that makes no sense. If you like thin necks, why would you buy that?
Right. Quentin says they have a big fat neck. They do. They're like 1 inch all the way up.
Well, right on. Let's get out of here, boys. I'm going to play a little bit while we head on out. Trev will end us up, and we'll see everybody for Transstream Thursday coming up in a couple of days.
Thanks for
Awesome.
coming out.
People.
Eddie Van Halen here, telling you, keep playing, man. Gotta keep playing. It's the only thing there is. Music, man. Keep playing. All right? I'm gonna come looking for you if you don't.